Alright, hi everyone. It should be live now. I'm really sorry. YouTube has it so when you set it up, if you orientation, like I'm using my phone to film, so if the orientation is not set already, I can't rotate it.
Well, I don't know if you're live.
No? It's,
You're definitely not.
it says live.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me check again.
I'm checking too, so.
Oh, okay, yeah, no. Yeah,
It's showing now? Okay.
sorry.
No, it's okay. I appreciate it. I'm assuming this is why people use like StreamYard and different programs like that to be able to make it work seamlessly.
I would maybe comment the new link under the
I can't.
comments and stories.
Yeah, but I can't even find. Like, it doesn't show me live right now on my own thing. Is part of the
Want me to
problem.
resend you the- Oh, I can't. Why can't Facebook message you? That's the link. I sent it to you on Facebook.
Okay, I don't have Facebook Messenger on this though, so.
Where can I send it?
I don't know why I can't see myself, which means I can't see the chat. But this is from the one earlier.
So, just, that's what I have on my end. Let
Okay.
me see this.
Hi, Adriana. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. David. Dava says Jason. Tell you hi. Jason's my tech person. I am so sorry. I really appreciate you guys finding the new link. First of all, like I said, I film on my phone, so the orientation, and then I use my iPad to be able to see the comments, and for whatever reason, it is not popping up as if I'm live. So I really apologize if you've been sitting here waiting. Hi, Arnetta. Oh, you're in DC, another East Coast person. Not far, I love DC. It's still not showing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you're good.
It's good now? Alright, thank you. Alright, Jason just fixed it for me. I can see myself. So I'm gonna set it aside. That way I can see the chat, I can see everybody. Yeah, Dalva, the sad part is like, I consider myself a fairly like good person with tech. I like teach it in school and use it. But Dalva, but the YouTube live interface is so funny. Like, I do have like the free version of StreamYard, but I was like, well, I could just go through YouTube Live because it's not like I'm streaming multiple places. So, but yeah, I'll have to look into that more for sure. Oh, Adriana, you're in Georgia too. Hey, Beth. A lot of East Coasters. Oh, yay, Crystal, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. And I really appreciate, I feel so bad. I shared the link earlier to like my stories and a couple Facebook groups, and now that link won't work. So hopefully people are like you guys and find the new link where it pops up. Hi, Tracy. All right, so I am sewing up the Book Bestie. That's my plan for tonight. This is one that I did originally with the sewing marathon, the Marathon Society. So if you're looking for like a full step-by-step tutorial with like timestamps and that, I have one for this exact one that I made. Oh, Crystal, you're from the north, the Midwest. Nice. I love knowing where everybody's from. It's so cool. That's one of the beautiful things about technology is that we're all so far away from each other, but kind of feels like a little group of friends when we're all chatting with each other. So yeah, I've had this Book Bestie cut out for over a month now, probably 2 months. Something that I learned with this one here is I did 2 layers, like underside of vinyl, and it was really thick. Like, my machine has metal gears inside, so it could do it. But for this one, I am only gonna do 1 layer of the vinyl. Aw, thanks, Beth. I'm really excited. Oh, good, Arnetta. So you're subscribed. A Minnesota. Aw, nice. Yay. So this is our under the sea, or like deep sea water resistant canvas. I'm using that for the exteriors. It has the PU coating, so it doesn't have that thick PVC vinyl backing. And something else, I did fusible fleece on both the exterior and the lining for this one. And it's a little bit, it's great because this large size fits my iPad. So I think the double fusible fleece, if you want to put like any, like a Kindle or any electronics in, is great. But for just a book, I don't think it needs so much. For this one, I only did the exterior with fusible fleece. Oh, a couple Minnesota. Yay. I was gonna say, I've never been to Minnesota. I've been to the airport once. I had a layover in one of the Twin City airports. But yeah, I've been up and down the East Coast because I grew up in Connecticut, went to college in Florida, so did all the states going through. Not as much in the Midwest or out west. Definitely on my bucket list though. I love traveling. All right, so I am going to start. Kayla, the from Carolina Little Stitches, the author of the pattern, she has multiple flaps and different options for elastic, a button, or a snap. I really like the button idea, so I'm going with the button again. So I am gonna attach the elastic first. I'm not in Florida. I'm back in New York City. So I grew up in Connecticut, but now I'm a teacher here in New York City. This is my 15th year living in New York. But Florida always has a special place in my heart. My college was in St. Petersburg, and if you ever look at like our shop online, we have flamingos and palm trees, and that is very heavily influenced by me going to school down in Florida. I miss it a lot. Alright, and I'm just basting that on real quick. Thank you, I appreciate that. I am spoiled this year. I am working out of one of the central offices, so I'm not in the classroom. But I was in the classroom for 12 years. Dolly, you're a city girl now. Yes, I have adapted to the city, but there's, you can take the girl out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the girl. I still don't like if there's too many people sometimes, or noise. Like New York City is so loud, so if you're like in groups and there's just too much noise, like I can't focus it out. I'm so used to having that quiet where you can hear like the peep frogs and like the crickets at night. So what's nice is that I'm only a couple of hours from home, or where I grew up, so I can always go home and visit. So I try to do that quite often. It's really hard. Like, I think cities compared to like the countryside or whatever, they both have their pros and cons. Like, I love all the museums and food and different cultures that you can experience here. Alright, so I just put my flap right sides together. I'm gonna sew it around and leave the turning hole here. Have any of you made the Book Bestie before? I'm a huge reader. I love to read. I actually read every single night before bed, but I only read like fantasy and sci-fi. So it's so funny when I'm teaching and I have to teach like non-fiction stuff. I just like empathize so much with the kids who don't really like it. Like, I can do it, but it's not my favorite. Yes, Beth. I know. I see your Goodreads. I love it. That's my relaxation. Besides sewing, reading, and that's really why I love books. Is it's kind of like my escape from the world. My parents were really big, especially my dad, reading. So when we were younger, he took us to like the bookstore like once a week. And my dad's a really big fantasy and sci-fi, and I fell in love with The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and here I am today. I actually don't have a preference before either paperback or hardcover, but I'm super neurotic about like not bending it, or like people who like bend the corner to mark their page. I can't do that. Hence why I really love the book covers and, you know, the Book Bestie. I have started using my iPad to read a little bit, just because the New York City Public Library has an app, and I've just been devouring books, and they've been so expensive. So it's been really nice to use the benefit of the ebooks, but I still prefer, you know, a paperback or hardcover in, you know, hands-on. And even with like teaching right now, whenever I have to read anything for my job, I always print it out. I comprehend much better, especially nonfiction, with like physical papers in front of me. Hi, Kim. Oh, your puppy is so cute. There's a lot of you in Minnesota. Yeah, I can't do audio. I have a really hard time paying attention to audiobooks. I tried it, and it's either the pace it goes or I just get distracted. So yeah, that is, oh man, you know what I did? Look, I'm talking too much and I put it on the opposite side already. I'm already making mistakes tonight. That's okay. I'm just gonna pop it off real quick. I have to, Kim. It's funny, before you popped on, I said I've only been to Minnesota one time when it was a layover on a flight. My parents and I did a trip to Las Vegas and then Arizona for the Grand Canyon, and that was where our layover was. So I definitely need to be back to visit. One of my goals is I do want to make it to all 50 states at some point. I love travel. Oh, that's so awesome, Arnetta. Yeah, libraries are phenomenal. I'm really spoiled with the New York one. The town that I grew up in, they have one library, and it's like so outdated. It's only open like one day a week. It's not even run by the town anymore. Libraries are awesome. I always get jealous too when you see in the sewing groups where some of the libraries have like sewing machines and laser cutters and all that stuff. I just think that's so incredible. I'm just rolling to this side real quick so I can, because I wasn't paying attention, I sewed the closure on the wrong side. So I'm just marking the center so I can unpick it there. Yeah, Lynn's is gonna be in, I believe it's Wisconsin. I really love sewing in person at retreats. I'm not sure if any of you are close to Pennsylvania, but keep an eye on Mojo Sews group and my group. As of right now, I'm supposed to go out there in November. We're trying to put together like a little weekend and do some classes. And as of right now, I'm supposed to be teaching the willow wristlet. So if you're close to Pennsylvania, it could be something fun if you guys are interested. And I just picked this apart, and I'm going to stick my elastic in on the correct side and just backstitch over the seams where, and sew over it. This is probably a thing where like maybe I'm not supposed to do that, but I'm hoping the backstitch will catch it. And I'm turning and top stitching this anyways, so I'm not too worried. Oh yeah, Beth. I know you're in West Virginia, so I don't know how far it is from where you are, but I know that when we were heading down to Tennessee, we drove through Pennsylvania and then West Virginia. So West Virginia was like, I felt like I was climbing a mountain the whole time. Yeah, the New York City libraries are, especially the main one in Manhattan, is just absolutely stunning with the lion sculptures and stuff out front. Even though I've been here 15 years, I still feel like a tourist. Every time I see the city, like I work in Queens right now near the river, so I can look across and see the skyline. And I'm like, it's like, pinch me, I actually live here and work here. And I would tell my students, because you know when you live somewhere, you kind of take it for granted no matter where you grow up. So it was always cool to like tell your students, you know, like people from all over the world like want to come here and visit. All right, perfect. So now I can turn this and my little loop will be on the correct side. And I'm going to cut down the seam allowance a little bit too, just so it's not so bulky. I appreciate everyone hopping on for the live. It's actually been really good with going back to work, back to school, that having Tuesday nights to kind of catch up on my projects, things on my to-do list. And it's nice to really chat with everybody. What I'm teaching in PA, as in like Pennsylvania, or? Aw, Kim, maybe you can visit New York one day. I'll give you a whole tour. It's so funny. It's hard to imagine. Oh, what I'm teaching. This is where I get confused, because I think teaching, and I'm a teacher in my day job. Yeah, Dava, I'm supposed to be doing the willow wristlet. I thought that would be quick and fun. Could make it on a domestic, and also like I wouldn't have to interface so much for prepping the kits and everything. And as far as living in the city, it's so funny. When I was applying to colleges, I applied to Boston University and got in and went and visited it with my mom, and I was like, they don't have, like, the city is the campus. There's not any like designated like this is only Boston University. I was like, Mom, I can't come here. The city is huge. And that was one of the factors I decided, or ended up in Florida, because they had an enclosed campus. And it just, like, so even though it was in, like a small city, it just still felt really comfortable and friendly. And I have no regrets. I had the best time in college. So, but it's so funny to me that now I live in New York City, which is even larger than Boston. I'm just taking my time poking out all the corners for the vinyl. And so for this one, I made it so it opens, like I'm right-handed, so it would open to the right. But for this one, I cut it a little bit differently, so it's going to be horizontal, and then the flap will open to the top. And I'm just clipping before I top stitch to kind of hold it. This top vinyl is a glow in the dark. No one ordered it in the pre-order, so we didn't restock this color. We only restocked the neon green and the white. I just grabbed the chopstick to help run across in the corner there. So much better than me trying to like manipulate it. Alright, so I'm just gonna top stitch this, and I think I might top stitch along the opening too, even though I don't really need to, just so it doesn't flop around on me. So if you have joined in and you're sewing or currently or in the progress with anything, what are you currently making? I'm curious about that. I have this one going. I have the Beetlejuice Addy bag cut out that we cut out last week. Probably work on that next. And then I want to do the Marathon Society one. We're gonna have another like Halloween spooky themed bag for October, so I'm really excited about that one. Oh, Cam, I love that. And I switched out to a Teflon foot. Depending on the temperature in the room, how hot the vinyl gets, sometimes my regular foot works with it, and other times it's better for the Teflon. So I just tend to switch it out now anytime I'm using vinyl. Oh yeah, that's great, Arnetta. How many do you end up? I can't talk tonight. I apologize. How many do you usually end up knitting or donating? I don't know, Kim. Hopefully work goes quick though. Oh my gosh, Crystal. Oh no, I would be so upset too. Did he tell you that he broke it, or did you have to like find out when you went to use it? Oh, all the way in Australia. Hi, Michelle. Thank you for joining in. The Diane crossbody, that's familiar. Is that the one that is either just released? I feel like I saw that in some posts recently. Ooh, a vampire bag. I love that. Alright, so I have it top stitched. On this side, it looks upside down, but I cut it so that way when we open it. Alright, so I'm looking to see if I have a preference for either the front or the back. I think I'm going to put this one as the front just because I love that there's like the little bit of pink down here, where on this side, if this was the front, it would get covered up. So I am going to use this one as the back. Oh my gosh, Crystal, I would have been so upset. Like, I don't mind, you can use, but like, at least tell me you broke it so I can try to fix it. Kim, this is the large size. I really like it. That's the same one that it's the same size I did for the Marathon Society, and it fits my iPad Air, and it's like, I like it because it's, I could put a smaller book in, but also I could put a thicker hardcover too. And because it's so much bigger, it would, like expand and bulk out. So. Oh, I think this would work great for a sketchbook. I guess depending on the side, you might have to even make it a little bit bigger depending on which size sketchbook they use. Oh, that's really nice, Dalva. My grandma and my great aunt both crochet, and my aunt donates blankets to like the hospital, so for the babies when they're born, get like a handmade blanket. And my grandma, she keeps them all so that way whenever we have baby showers or friends who are having babies, we have a gift, so we go see grandma when we need one. Now I'm just putting on the back side, putting the flap, and I'm going to baste it in place. I'm just lining up the center. Switch out my foot too. If I don't switch out my Teflon foot, if I use it on something that's not like vinyl, I find sometimes it like drags, so. Yeah, that would be great. There's also, Kayla put like where you could attach a pen, I guess for pencils, but I bet you could put like a little pencil case inside too. Noodlehead has a really cute pencil case pattern. It's I don't think it's on her actual website. I found it through her blog, but it's really fun and quick. Arnetta and Dalva, you guys are so awesome. That's great. Feels so good to give back to like the community and everything. Yeah, so Dalva, this is the water resistant canvas from the shop. This is the deep sea print. So the supplier calls it waterproof, but I call it water resistant because I feel like a lot of people associate waterproof with the PVC backing, and this has that PU backing, so it can fray on the edges. So yeah, this is one of we have a few different ocean prints, so that's one of them. Alright, so this is just basted in place on the back, so that way it will end up folding over. Oh, Dama, thank you. Yeah, so we like, to be 100% transparent, when we weren't able to do the, what's it called, the expo in Tennessee. Thankfully, I hadn't signed up as a vendor yet, but I usually do. And the past couple of years, a large portion of our sales came from the expo. So we weren't, obviously it was canceled, we didn't get to go. So in our store, we just started doing pre-orders because a lot of people will request items and it's so expensive for us to front the retail, bring it in. And part of the problem and why we're running a sale right now is we have a ton of retail just sitting there. So we have a flash sale. All the water resistant canvases, we have this Ocean Life left. We have this book's print left in the water resistant canvas, and a black heart, black with red and pink hearts in water resistant canvas. Those are all 30% off. Our vinyls, I believe we put 25. Zipper tape and vinyls and zipper tape are 25%. Zipper pulls are 20% off, and I think hardware is 10. Like, basically our whole entire shop right now is on sale until October 1st. So if you're interested in trying it, definitely have some good deals going right now. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is a water resistant fabric, water resistant canvas. They're based on, like, the deep sea creatures, but definitely like more a cartoony version. Okay, so now I'm going to put my two exteriors right side together so I can sew up around the two sides and the bottom. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm typing on the iPad, so I'm gonna drop my shop link. Should be able to click it. Yeah, if you can't click it, it's right there. It's just So Majestic. So the same as YouTube username, just somajestic.com. And you can, I think most people here, we ship really quick. Kim will tell you that she ordered some school buses for us, and they literally like journeyed all over the United States. So we do ship them out the same day or the next day, depending if the post office is still open. Thankfully that doesn't happen too often. That's like the one good thing about being, in a city, that our mail tends to move pretty quick. Oh my god, Arnetta, enabling. Thanks. Kim, the So Majestic name, the business name? If that's what you're asking, it was actually Jason, my boyfriend. If you were in the beginning, you'll see him helping me with technology. We thought for like days and days and days, because I was like, I wanted it to incorporate my love of reading and like fantasy and stuff, but I wasn't quite sure how. We were just coming up with a whole bunch of names, and then obviously it's a sewing business, and he's like, So Majestic, and I was like, that is perfect. So all the credit goes to him, because it might have even been a couple weeks that we were stuck on it. And then the other thing is, I also wanted to make sure, like, if you are coming up with a business name, try to make sure, I double checked to make sure that there was no social media, no websites, like if I was claiming it, and no trademarks. That's a big thing too. So I was like, if I'm, starting a business name, I want to be able to make sure I can get all the socials for that. So I definitely recommend doing that if you are going to come up with one. Yeah, Kim, your school buses went on like a huge road trip. I'll have to say, we've had our business for 3 years, and I think only twice we've had one package just like completely go missing, never been found, and this other lady had her package stolen out of her mailbox, and it was so terrible. you know, she filed the police report. Like Etsy was awesome. They gave her the refund with like their protection, and she had the packaging and had a police report because they hit up the whole town. They even stole from the sheriff, which is just like mind blowing to me. So I have to say, like, knock on wood, it's been pretty good for us. A Janome 360 QDC. I don't know. Hope maybe somebody here sews on a Janome. I'm using a Singer from, it's either the late 70s or early 80s. I'm just using a very basic foot that comes with it, or came with it. And when I'm sewing vinyl, I use this little Teflon foot that has the two different sides. And I also have a metal zipper foot that I use. And feet are also funny because when I first started sewing, I was sewing on a Brother machine. And people are like, oh, get a Teflon foot. It works great. And I got a Teflon foot and I was like, what are people talking about? This did not work at all. And I was like, I don't know what people are talking about. What magic is this? But then I got the Teflon foot for this machine and I was like, oh, this is what they're talking about. So definitely don't be afraid to try different feet and figure out what works best for your machine, because there's some that definitely won't work. And I experienced that. And I'm just going to trim down the seam allowance on the side. At the bottom, I'm not going to trim it down for like the first inch though, so that way when we put this together I can open up the seams easier. Kim, does your daughter like to sew? Does she sew regularly? I'm not sure if my mom or dad are watching, but sometimes they'll pop in. My dad will say hi. But I actually, the Brother machine that I was sewing on was my mom's. She works in the school system, and when my sister was pregnant, in home ec class, she made these really awesome quilted bibs and a little baby quilt and stuff for her. And so we bought her like this small, just like starter machine, and she never used it at home, so I took it to New York one day and started teaching myself. So now our big joke is the Ellie and Mac have like this stuffy ball pattern that I made for my nieces, and they filled it with their stuffed animals, so now they need another one. So my mom's like, oh, have you started it yet? And I'm like, you gonna have some sewing lessons, Mom? So she's on. I still haven't cut it out yet. Alright, so these corners get boxed, so I am going to do that now before I work on the lining. Oh, that's great. I think I don't know how to say it, Wawak, or I always mess it up. I think they ship out in New York or are out of here. What I do need to get for this machine, talking about how they are not always interchangeable, is like I had a walking foot for the Brother machine, and doing quilting, I really need one for this one, but I haven't gotten one yet. And for the exterior, I'm doing the given. Oh, I just broke that clip. I'm doing the given seam allowance, and for the lining, I'm gonna do it a little bit of a deeper seam allowance, because I do think on the bottom of this one with all the fusible fleece, I should have probably taken a little bit of a deeper seam allowance. Oh, that's really cool, Kim. My nieces are 9 and 8, and I've made them some clothes, and so they were. My niece Winter the other day called, and she had made a dress out of like paper, and so they've been asking me. They want to learn to sew, so we'll see. I'm gonna bring home. Well, the brother sewing machine is there, but I have a very basic serger, so I'm gonna bring that home and see if I can't make something with them. Oh, that's really cool. I love the finished look of box corners, but I hate sewing them. Oh, crocheting is hard. You have to have a lot of patience. It's very time consuming. Right now I've been doing a cross stitch pattern, a Halloween themed one. Came out as like a mystery sew along, so I'm like almost done with part 4. I have 2 more parts to do. Hey Dad, have a good night. Love you. I'll see you tomorrow, or talk to you tomorrow. The Dad was on. He doesn't always say anything, but he always joins in and watches, and then make sure he gives me a thumbs up. My dad is actually the one that taught me to crochet when I was younger. Made like a scarf and blanket. I haven't done anything elaborate like the stuffed animals or anything like that, but alright, so for the lining I am using canvas, and I just interfaced it with, I don't know if it was SF101 or it could have been SewFuse Plus. I can't remember. But it's just the cotton canvas. You can see it's like fraying a little bit, but I love sewing personally with cotton canvas or cotton woven, and I think the softer lining is perfect for a book, or if it's electronics. And so this one I'm starting at the regular seam allowance, but increasing it as I go. Yeah, I never learned knitting now, but that one, I don't know why. The whole the 2 needles is intimidating. Another thing I love about this pattern in particular is that it really comes together quite quickly. always get inspired to crochet and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And then I'll buy like yarn and the needle and I'll get like a few rows in and just like get tired of it. It's so much work. Jason's coughing in the background saying scarf because there's still like a half crocheted scarf that he's wanted for like 5 years. We'll get done eventually. I've made him some nice tank tops and some clothes, so it should count for something. Alright, I left my turning hole in the bottom here. And we are going to put these together. So I'm going to turn my exterior so it's right side facing out. I need to have my great aunt teach me how to read like the crocheting patterns. She makes like these beautiful blankets and stuff where it all, you know, the different stitches change and everything. But I don't know how to read them, so it's definitely a skill. I'm just poking out the bottom corner here before I put in the lining and whatnot. I still have to box the corners on the lining. Would you make him have to model it, Kim? I'm just clipping here for the box corners on the lining. I'm super excited about how this is going to turn out. And I'm really happy that I did it so it wasn't one directional. This way if you're left-handed or right-handed, it works for, you know, all people. That's really funny, Kim. Yeah, like I can make clothes for my nieces. I've made some shirts for Jason. I really would love to learn how to sew for myself, but I definitely, I need to find something, like I don't know if I could do that self-taught, or I need to find like a really good explanation, some videos and stuff, because I definitely would need adjustments. I tried making like one pattern just as written, and it was like a box. It looked so bad on me. So yeah, I definitely need to learn how to adjust for my body. That's funny. That's great. Oh, I didn't realize Swoon had like clothing. I'll have to look. Yeah, like I have a closet full of knits that I'm slowly starting to like work my way through for my nieces. A lot of like the character prints and stuff. Oh, okay. Because I was like, I didn't know Swoon did clothes. Alright, I'm going to trim down these seam allowances as well, but not, again, not at the top and not where I left that turning hole. Sorry, I'm trimming it over the garbage can, so if you can't see what I'm doing, that's why. Dalva, that's so funny. I'm sure you could find somebody in Puerto Rico that would use it, though. The egg collecting patterns are super cute. I don't know if any of you belong to Rocker by D-Stash. It's another custom fabric group. I love their clothes, and they have started doing some patterns as well. Or I love their fabrics, but they started doing some clothing patterns, and they have an egg one. Dalva, I appreciate you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys joining in for the Tuesday lives. Between like the last two, it's gone up I think like 50 hours. So I know I mentioned before like I need 4,000, and so if it continues as it is, I think I'm on the trajectory to hit it by December. So I really, really appreciate everybody joining in, watching. I'm just lining up my centers, or marking my centers. And in case you missed it earlier, so like on Tuesdays, like these are kind of just like sew-in chats. I figure, whatever I'm working on for the week, come on, talk about it, what's going on or whatnot. But all my actual videos are very like strictly tutorial. They all have timestamps in the description, and I think are pretty descriptive. So if you're looking for like step by step of this pattern, there is one on my channel. Yeah, you know what? That's a great idea. Even back home, I wonder if they would sell in my hometown, Dalva. It's very much like a rural farming town. And this is where I always have to think, like, one side exterior, like, so the right sides are facing together, that when they turn. I didn't mark my center on one of the other exterior sides, so I'm just going to do that now. That's the one thing I also miss about like small town. There's much more like the farmers markets or craft fairs and stuff. They do have them in New York, but I feel like they're so hard to find, or like find within enough time to be able to try to sign up. And then when you do, they're so expensive. I'm just matching my edges first. I'm trying to open up the seam so it doesn't get so bulky. So for this, you can match up the centers, but what I tend to do as well is match up the edges first and kind of just like pull it taut and see if it lines up that way first. This way I don't get any bubbles or anything, not bubbles, like, gaps in the fabric where it would crease. Hi, Gail. You guys are inspiring. I love when everybody shares like the different patterns and stuff. I love trying new ones. or things that I might not have, you know, thought about making or whatnot. Alright, and I think I'm going to remove the, you know, piece here to try to sew in the round. Sometimes it works, sometimes it gives me trouble because it's set in. It will sometimes get stuck back here. But for the most part, it works pretty well, so we'll try it. Yeah, Dava, you're right. Like that, or they're like super expensive, and they shut down like, you know, the huge avenues and such. So this is where it kind of gets stuck and doesn't turn so nicely on that side. So I always, whenever I stop, I just put my needle down and try to maneuver it the best that I can. So besides the bag for the next Marathon Society, I'm not sure what I'm going to do for tutorials. I've started reaching out to different designers and asking if I can feature their patterns. So I did put out a video for the H2O to go. It was either last week or the week before. And some pouches from Lacus Designs. So that's kind of my plan. I hope to expand into, you know, different, more tutorials, especially using a domestic machine. I use a lot of, like I said, cotton canvas or water resistant canvas. I do use vinyls and stuff, but definitely not all vinyl bags. Or if I do, they're very thoughtfully put together. Oh yeah, I bought a pair of or a paper pattern to make my niece. She wanted like fuzzy pajama pants. But that's the only paper one I have ever bought. I usually just print them all out. Even like the PDF. I did buy a projector, but it's not short throw. So we'd have to either mount it to the ceiling or find some type of way to like temporarily mount it to be able to project down. So that's definitely a goal there. Aw, Kim, yeah. I'm so glad that you did the Marathon Society. And tell your husband, you did a good job with the video. I was laughing so hard. Yeah, if you guys are paying attention to the chat, Y6Made is Kim. Check out her YouTube. She also does tutorials. Further up is Beth for So Country. She does tutorials. And we all did the Marathon Society this past weekend. We made the Louis waist pack by Uh-Oh Creations, and it was a ton of fun. See, Kim, I don't feel so bad. You know, mine's in the box, but it's out of the Amazon wrapping, but not much further. And I'm just turning this probably, I think it's soft and flexible because I use fusible fleece. Probably should have left a slightly bigger turning hole. And even though this doesn't have the PVC packing, it has the PU coating. You can heat it up and it will help it turn, but it's going okay right now, so. It's the vinyl that's getting stuck right now. Yeah, I had never made the Louis before. If you guys are in the chat, have you guys done the Louis waist pack from Uh-Oh Creations? I know it was super popular, and Lauren's made a bunch, and Saya's made them, and Okla Roots. I just never made one because I don't usually use a fanny pack or like a sling bag. My preference is a crossbody. But that was a lot of fun, and it came together really quickly. I can see why people enjoy making them, and I can see them being a good seller at like a craft fair and stuff too. Alright, so I got it all the way turned out, so now I'm going to tuck the lining in. You've done it, Dalva? What did you make it out of? Did you do vinyl or like a canvas? I made mine out of the water resistant canvas, but it definitely was thicker on the side where the webbing goes in. So, Kim, I like when you made yours, you kind of like left it out of that seam allowance. Oh wow, Dalva, with vinyl. Was it difficult with vinyl? Alright, so I have it lining tucked in. I'm just maneuvering it so I can do the final top stitch. I left the turning hole. I don't like to close up the turning hole until I top stitch, because in case I need to stick my hand inside to help pull out any of the fabrics or anything, having that turning hole open is really helpful. Kim, you're so funny. Yeah, I'm a slow sewer too. And oftentimes, because the only time I ever have everything all right in front of me is basically doing these lives. When I'm sewing by myself and no one's watching, I will stop and then have to cut my zipper tape or have to go get this or do that. I never have it all set out and ready. Oh, the phalanges. That silly word. Like, you should have seen me. I was Googling how to pronounce it. I'm like, my accent is messing this up. Then I felt so better when we all were saying it funny. What's making this top stitch a little bit tricky is I just put the fusible fleece all the way to the edge. So it definitely would be easier had I left that out of the seam allowance. I don't know if that paused on your end. My mom was just calling, so if it paused, I apologize. I'll call her back later. Alright. And again, I think I am going to try to do that. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes it's better and I'll like maneuver it around, like kind of holding it like this and going, but again, because it's not so big and not so stiff, I'm going to try to wrap it around the arm here. Dava, yeah, my OCD is really bad sometimes with sewing. I try not to worry so much like, oh, it's not perfect like a straight line, but in like the order that I do things, or when I'm filming a tutorial, I have like very specific ways that I do it. I'm just double checking. I want to make sure I leave this flap out so I don't get that caught in the top stitch. And when I'm top stitching, I literally just use my regular presser foot, and where it has like the little oval in the center, I just line it up with the edge of the oval. I think this is one that you could tie off and hide it if you want, but I usually don't. I'm also using a variegated thread from Wizardry Stitchery, and I find that it I don't want to say it like hides your top stitch, but it definitely helps hide those imperfections because the thread color is already changing. So it's one of the benefits. Oh, grommets are so hard. I hate cutting those little, like the inside of them, the circles. I really want to buy some of those, like the ones that the little cut, I don't know what you call them, the dies, I guess, for leather that they sell on Amazon, where you can, I have an arbor press, and I think that I could use that to like cut out, like punch out the shape, because trying to cut out those inside of grommets is terrible. Or turn locks. I love the way turn locks look. I just do not enjoy putting them on. Delva, for the cutters, do you mean the ones like I'm talking about, like those little dies that punch out the shape? Because what I've been doing now is I have like the handheld hole punch, and I just punch multiple holes like around the edge, trying to like perforate it. It works, but it's definitely a process. I'm just hand cranking here because I'm on the edge where all the seams are coming together, so it's quite thick. Another thing I love about using like water resistant canvas or cottons and stuff is I don't feel so bad like smushing it. You can always press it and get it out. Oh, a hammer, okay. Davi, you'll have to send me that link later for the 51, or I'll search for that. That's great to know. Just backstitch, so I'm gonna trim that. I'll check, hopefully I caught everything properly. think the top stitch came out pretty good. And you can see, sometimes I try to find like the matching, it's not quite in the green, but I also try to hide the top stitch if it's like a certain color in the print. It's like my favorite thing to do. And I always get worried that like here it's gonna bubble up too much or whatnot, but it didn't. I have to still close the hole, but I'm just making sure that this will, alright, awesome, folds over really nice. Yeah, and so now I save turning or sealing up the lining turning hole. Aw, thank you. Really excited about it. I love this print. I love the ocean. I just love all animals, but I really love the sea turtles and everything. This print is adorable. We also have this same print in all the matching vinyls, like the smooth vinyls, and they all have a canvas backing on them, which I like because they're like thin for the domestic, but they're still sturdy, so I don't feel like I have to add a lot of interfacing. And I'm using like a greenish variegated thread. I'm not changing it out for this blue. It's in the bottom of the bag. So, and the same thing with like hand stitching it closed. I never hand stitch my linings. I am a terrible hand stitcher, so. Cut my thread too short, so when I pulled the thread out of the needle. Oh, the jellyfish, yeah, the jellyfish are my dad's favorite. You'll have to post it in the group when you make it. I love when people share their projects of what they made with the different vinyls or water resistant canvas. It's so inspiring to me. Although when you get your hearts and you sew them up, you'll have to share. Alright, let me try it again. I just rethreaded. Yeah, and if you guys have found me through Facebook or a member of the group, thank you for being there. We actually just hit 3,000 members a couple of days ago, so we're at like 3,002 or something now. So it's a really big accomplishment for us. So I thank everybody who either follows us there or for you being on YouTube with me. Oh, thank you. I need to like start holding my threads. I never hold them, and then I'll sometimes get that loop down here, and then I end up having to cut it out. It's like I just want to get going. I guess if I ever get an industrial though, I definitely need to get in that habit. Alright, so now we sealed up that lining. I'm going to tuck it down inside. Awesome. So you can see I did a deeper seam allowance for the lining in this one. And the lining I did not put fusible fleece. And you can see for this one, I did use fusible fleece and the same seam allowance, so it's a little bit more, I'm not sure if you can really tell on camera, but it's a little bit more baggy here. So I'm happy that I made those adjustments. And actually, I think this one like with that one layer of fusible fleece on the outside, I actually would still put my iPad in here. Like it feels pretty padded with it. So the only part that's left, which I probably won't do because I didn't, or on camera anyways, I didn't grab a hand sewing needle, and I'm terrible at it, is putting buttons on. So if you have a really good technique for putting buttons on or a tutorial, definitely feel free to share it in the comments, because I'm atrocious at it. I am going to figure out which one I want though. Figure I can dump them in this empty IKEA container that I have near my sewing machine. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions or anything, definitely feel free to ask. I'm going to pop off in a minute. I will be back 100% for sure next Tuesday. Depending how this week goes with work and everything else, I really want to try to come on and sew the Beetlejuice bag from last week's cutting out on Tuesday. So I think I'm going to use this nice teal button here. And so how Kayla tells you to do it is, and what I did for the last one, is I just folded this flap down so it will look like this, and kind of marked where I wanted my button so that I stretched the elastic a little bit, so that way it's not stretched too much. And I'm super excited. You'll have to check on social media because this one glows, so I'm really excited. I'm going to put it in the light box to charge the vinyl and take a picture because I think it's going to look really awesome with the under the sea creatures, the deep sea creatures, and the glowing vinyl. So, all right, well, thank you guys so much for joining me. Like, I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the technology trouble in the beginning, for hanging in there, finding the new link. Hopefully Tuesday will be set up right. Last week I was like, all right, I finally got it, but so hopefully next week will be good too. But, all right, thank you guys. Have a good night, and I'll see you soon. Bye.